Drum solo! Ow, that hurts my fingers. Ow, ow.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California, North Carolina, or from all agents.
Welcome to Sherwin-Williams.
Hi there. I heard paints are 40% off.
Yep, and stains too.
Right here.
Mm-hmm. Only at your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store.
Right now.
Well, July 19th through the 22nd.
Right on.
Right? Ask Sherwin-Williams, July 19th through 22nd, and save 40% on paints and stains, with sale prices starting at $23.09. Only at your local Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
I'm Barry Cole, owner of Beret Jewelers. What do you think when you hear 60 to 70% off diamonds? If you're equipped with a good truth filter, a loud alarm goes off in your head and screams, mark up to mark down, mark up to mark down. At Beret Jewelers, we don't mark it up to mark it down, but I promise you we will always be the lowest price on comparable quality diamonds and jewelry. You don't stick around for 32 years unless you've done just that. Like people, diamonds have levels of integrity. Our job at Beret Jewelers is to find you that perfect diamond with strong levels of integrity, diamonds that are properly graded and beautifully cut so many years down the road it shimmers, shines, and stands out in a crowd. Sometimes the hidden treasure is right in your backyard, and for diamonds and jewelry, it's here at Beret Jewelers, brand new location next to Bonefish Grill on 12th Avenue or in Gulf Breeze. I'm Barry Cole from Beret Jewelers, and I want to be your jeweler.
Now that Human Resources Director Fernando Pino has Kronos for HR, payroll, talent, and time, he's completely crushing it. He even has his own hype song.
Supporting our entire workforce. Everyone has different hours, skill sets, and pay grades.
I'm on the top. I'm gonna rise up. I'm on the top. I'm gonna rise up. Now we are
Motivating and engaging our people every step of the way.
blast off to the front of the field. This is
Kronos, HR solutions for the modern workforce and the people who support them. Learn more at kronos.com/HR swagger.
I'm on the top. I'm gonna rise up. I'm on the top. I'm gonna rise up. I'm on the top.
Hi, I'm Kelly Clarkson, and I've toured the country dozens of times, and there's one thing I see everywhere: childhood hunger. The sad truth is that 17 million kids struggle with it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers up surplus food and gets it to hungry kids. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golic and Wingo.
Oh, yeah.
To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Catch all the Wahoos games home and away all season, plus all the latest Wahoos news from Chad Brilliante on the Sports Drive, 5 till game time weeknights. And hey, if your business would like to partner with us as an advertiser or with a local sports promotion, then give us a call at 850-262-6000 or shoot us an email from the advertise page on ESPNpensacola.com.
looking Gannon, throws up the middle. It's intercepted at the 40. Derek Brooks 30. Brooks to the 29, 20. Derek Brooks all the way. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Derek Brooks, the dagger's in. We're going to win the Super Bowl.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket, and this time his name is Bubba.
Pitch on the way. Russell drives one in the air. Deep left center. That's back near the wall. It's got a chance. Grand slam. Grand slam, Addison Russell.
The new WNBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
And Richardson breaks free on the sideline. End zone. How about that? Bama scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And these them Louisiana, Pensacola guys, they looking crazy and all that.
Morris, blocked by the tight end call. That opens up the door. Breaking the coverage tackle. To the pylon. Touchdown.
Really nice effort there by Alfred Morris, extending that ball over the goal line.
Near side ball has had a big game. Doug Baldwin's got a first down. Doug Baldwin, 93 yards, now has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
Reggie Evans, and he's going to get an ovation. Guy from Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome into the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and on Blab TV. I am Chad Brilliante. Glad to be with you here as always as we are broadcasting, having some fun with you on this Thursday evening. Going to talk a little college football with Pat Dye out there on his ranch, having some fun as he will be out there selling maple reserves. Not 100% sure if Coach Gene Stallings got my my conversation yesterday.
Sure he didn't.
He didn't get that, no. We all laughed, but not to say that he needs to be in on these ridiculous jokes, but Coach Stallings and Coach Dye have been out in Birmingham this week, and Coach said, well, he's really big into selling those trees these days, Chad. And I said, well, you just got to be careful. You don't want to get busted. And it was like crickets. But, it's all right. Obviously, maple reserves
started to hit you with the woe sign, but somebody took it.
Let's go to some more positive notes. Tiger Woods in a 78. This is the thing. Glass half full kind of guy. Tiger could always get on the mic and be like, back in 1998, I went up against a really good player in David Duval, and that guy shot a 90. But outside of that, there's not much you can say. It was a tough day out there on the course. We talked to my brother, Brett Brilliante, from the Golf Channel, who shows off with a bunch of selfie photos of him being at some of these courses. And he's out there covering it where all of Rory McIlroy's cousins, uncles, aunts, everybody with a perm that's pretty much got a ginger perm going on knows Rory McIlroy. And it is going to be one of those kind of events where the scores are not going to be great. J.B. Holmes can crush the ball. He's the kind of guy downwind that can drive a par 5 at a course like this. J.B. Holmes led the tour with Bubba Watson in driving distance back a few years ago. And he's the kind of guy that is off to a great start at 5 under par. But there are a lot of guys within 3 or 4 shots. And it's not that Brooks Koepka is lurking at 3 under. When you see Brooks Koepka next to any leaderboard in a major, you should be shaking in your boots right now. So it's going to be fun to see, but at this point, I'm not going to try to break down who had the best round when you had pretty much 32 players within 5 shots. Let them play it out in a golf course. When you're playing on an Open Championship, don't call it British, but when you're in the Open Championship, all it takes is one bad shot into the burn, into the rough, and your round is completely ruined. So 3 or 4 shots, not that much. Looking at some things we talked about today, yesterday we had a great conversation in college football about the possibility of a filter league, about the possibility of seeing an XFL take command with a lot of guys that want to Randy Moss it, straight cash, homie. And Jordan, I don't want to see it go down this path. I would rather see college football. We live in SEC country. Great fans everywhere we look. SEC Media Days, Day 4. We're going to get to more on that coming up here. But I hope it doesn't go down a path where kids are thinking of the greed quickly. And when I say greed, it's hard for you or I, if somebody said, I'm going to offer you $150,000 cash, to turn it down to say, you know what, the future has great things. Give you that old, what you get in one of those Aesop Fables books. Like, we don't need the nonsense of like, they're great. We're going to play for Clemson, and I'm going to play for 3 years, and it's going to be a great time, and everybody's going to party, and we're going to win time. No, like, if you have a chance to get paid right away, 6 figures in your life, no student loans, nothing like that, just go out there and make cash. You might have grew up in a bad neighborhood. Your mom might be homeless, like Peyton Barber was. They put that guy in his seat, like, Peyton, why'd you come out early? Weren't even the starting running back at Auburn. Well, my mom's homeless and wanted to make a contract. That guy's like, crap. Shouldn't ask that question right there. Feel a little bad now. You never know the story. And in this case, if you have a filter league that you don't have to sit out 3 years, look how many people complain in college basketball about the one and done. 3 years. It could be different. And I don't want it to go down that path. But the XFL and Vince McMahon are smart enough to know there's the possibility it could go down that path.
Yeah, Vince McMahon is a businessman, and he's a guy that if he sees an opportunity to get players like Trevor Lawrence inside his league by doing that, you better believe he's going to start doing that, and those players are going to start going there, and that's going to, in turn, start to kind of decrease a little of what we're seeing in college football as far as the competition goes, because those top-tier players like Trevor Lawrence, like Tua Tagovailoa, like those type of guys are going to be going to play in the XFL. They're going to make, $300,000 over the course of 2 years, then go play in the NFL and make millions of dollars with contract endorsements and product endorsements and things like that. So, I think that if they catch wind that they can do that inside the XFL, they will. And if it does that, then college football is either going to have to step up and then start paying the players and figure out a way to pay the players. That way those players are then enticed to still come to school and play at a place like Clemson or Florida or Alabama or Texas A&M. I think it's going to happen with the XFL, unfortunately, if the XFL has staying power. The XFL could go belly up within months, just like the AAF did. We don't know yet. We're not going to get that until spring of next year. So we got to see what the XFL is going to be about first. The XFL lasts around a couple of seasons. I think that we could possibly see that happen.
The only thing about going belly up for the XFL is that a lot of other entities, like the AAF, had to get a huge sum from a guy named Tom Dundon, the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, who end up just looking at it and going, you know what? We didn't get the NFL to work with us. We're done.
The XFL doesn't need the NFL.
He actually ended up being the devil in disguise. They thought he was buying out and saving them. It was like the guy that ends up buying a whole area, like people live there in like a impoverished area or something, and they're like, thank you for buying our land. All right, tear it down and put a bunch of condos. And you're like, no! Like, you thought that guy was saving, and instead he came in and wiped you out. So Dundon turned on them. It didn't work out. He wanted to deal with the NFL. He wanted them to be in cahoots. The NFL said, we're our own brand. And I don't blame the NFL. Look, I'm not going to go down the if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But the NFL doesn't need anybody coming to them. No. If you owned Jim Bob's Burgers and you have a grill outside of US 90 in Milton, and all of a sudden you go into a McDonald's, and not like there, but you get with the Kroc family, and all of a sudden you find them, and you say, first off, your shakes never work, your shake machines. And then second off, you say, you know what? You need my burgers. Let's sit down and sign a deal, buddy. Be like, try your burger. I'm going to tell you, get the blank out of my office. So here's the deal. You know what I'm saying? And here's a Happy Meal so you can go on your way. Here you go. It's even got a little stuffed grimace. But you get to a point where you realize that the NFL didn't need to work with the AAF. They don't need to work with the XFL.
Right.
Their brand is bigger, stronger than ever. It does not matter. Roger Goodell has been able to keep them alive.
The first time. It made him sound more like a dictator, so I like that.
Roger Goodell has been one of those, like an outside the lines reporter.
Yeah.
Roger Goodell. He's been one of those kind of guys that has been trying to collapse the league, and they still find a way through the protests, through everything that he's done wrong with the players' agreements. The owners are getting richer because we love the sport. Red Zone Network, fantasy football. The NFL has more ways to interact. Mm-hmm. Think about it, and we always talk about the game. We are sports fans here, but a lot of people are fans of themselves. And what I mean by that, they like their fantasy football team. They like to gamble to make more money for themselves. And their favorite color is not the color of their uniforms, but it's green. So at the end of the day, the NFL caters to that more than anything. There's no other league that caters. That's why the NBA was making it so critical that they start working with some of these sports books in the games,
Right, yeah.
even though half of their referees are corrupt. It gets to the point where the NFL has branded themselves as that league. More people at a local sports bar in town are caring about their fantasy football team these days than the team itself in this market on a Sunday. Now, on a Sunday in Chicago, on a Sunday in New York, on a Sunday in Boston, it might be different. You're rooting for your team. And then everybody's rooting for Tom Brady. That's how I look at it. But, yeah, cheetah. Favorite cat out there, the cheetahs. But the difference is other leagues haven't branded themselves that way, and the XFL is never going to have that. They're never going to have. Nobody's going to be like, who's this backup quarterback from East Tennessee that's going to be the guy that we're going to put on our, quote, fantasy XFL team? Nobody's sounds a little dirty. But at the same time, you just need to realize that for most of these players, they don't need to brand themselves with any other league outside of what the NFL has. So, but to go to your point about going belly up, the AF didn't have a choice.
Right.
They quickly dropped the ball. If you have a guy, and we're not, this isn't to give any, but like for us here, ADX Communications, incredible. Cat Country just won another award. You're part of it. #1 country music station out there. You got a number of stations. They can do things, and if something did not work out, they could look at that and say, you know what, that cost us a little, but we're going to go with this. Where a company starting fresh might not be able to do that.
Right. Yeah.
If you have a guy that owns owns tons of restaurants in town, and he opens up his own local brewery because him and his buddies want to get together for a couple beers, if that doesn't work out or they're losing money because he's drinking all the kegs with his friends, then guess what? They still are okay because he can take a loss and still keep the doors open. The XFL has WWE, who is going to be in town. Had an opportunity to get with a couple of the guys, including Roman Reigns' father, and have an interview. And Roman Reigns will be in town for the first time since 2014 when WrestleMania with WWE here in town. They can lose a little bit of money at the beginning, and they don't have to go belly up. So that's going to be the difference. Is we're not going to know whether or not they're completely collapsing until later on down the road when it really gets bad and they have to cut ties. But at this point, they're not going to be pulling out before the season is over. The AAF didn't even make it through a year to give these guys a chance to do playoffs.
I think that if the XFL does have to close their doors in a similar way to the AAF, it's going to be because nobody's watching, nobody's paying attention. There's just no fan base there to support it. And with some of the rules that they're going to be implementing, that might actually be the case because they've got some crazy overtime rules. I know they're going to kind of go more of a hockey-style overtime with their league than what you would have with normal football, to where it's going to be for them. It's going to be you're going to have both teams, offense and defense, at one side of the field. One team's going to run a play. Then that other team's going to get a chance to run a play. First team to score a touchdown is going to win. I believe that's how they're doing their overtime. So there could be some ways to where fans get turned off from the game, and if they're turned off from the game, they're not going to the games, they're not watching the games, then the XFL could get in trouble. But I think the big thing, like you mentioned, is the financial backing for the XFL that is there that wasn't there for the AAF, and that's just by Vince McMahon alone, not by the other parties that have helped out with the XFL so far.
850-972-1945 is the number. Yankees and Tampa Bay Rays in action right now as Yankees with a 3-2 lead over Tampa. So need another Travis d'Arnaud walk-off right there. That'd be fun. As that short porch, that's almost unfair. That short porch and right. Saw a guy chip it off the end of his bat for a home run. You know, you got these guys 6'8", 240 coming out of machines, and they're hitting the ball.
I saw somebody on Twitter that was talking about this stadium, and they said that the new Yankee Stadium is a joke because literally pop-ups become home runs.
Yeah.
You go to other ballparks in Major League, pop-ups, and it's an out at Target Field where the Twins play. It's a home run at Yankee Stadium. And it is ridiculous that that's the case, but
Maybe it's
They're
me
the
just
Yankees.
not want to see the Yankees win. I mean, that might be what's happening here. But at the same time, today at SEC Media Days, Gus Malzahn was on the mic, Mark Stoops, and Derek Mason, and we're going to talk some more. A diverse group of guys. That definitely, when you look at three coaches with a lot of different personalities there.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing about these media days is a lot of coaches with a lot of different personalities. Not everybody's your grandpaps like Bill Schneider up there asking to see when's dinner at 4:30. We're coming back for more right here in the Sports Drive.
Most times, it's easier to achieve it for our cars than for ourselves. After all, Valero top-tier certified quality fuel is just around the corner to keep your engine running cleaner, better, and longer. So if you're not up for raw beet juice today, at least Valero can make sure your car is fueled clean. That means you'll get where you want to go and need to go, and your car will feel great getting you there. Find a station near you at ValeroCleanGas.com.
The Big One sales event is on at Bob Tyler Toyota with special low Bob Tyler prices. New 2019 Highlander LE just $249 a month. New 2019 Tacoma Double Cab SR5 $229 a month. Or new 2019 Tundra Double Cab SR5 4.6 liter V8 just $289 a month. Bob Tyler Toyota has over 10 acres of pre-owned vehicles. Hurry in before the Big One sales event ends. Approved credit, 12,000 mile, 36-month leases, $49.99 cash or trade equity down, excludes tax tag, registration, title, zero security deposit. All prices include $899.50 dealer fees. See dealer for details. Expires 7/31/19.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
What you thought used to be able to make you a championship contender just isn't anymore. And so these cats are going to have to assemble. And it seems that they trust each other more than they trust these general managers. Again, I asked this question about the Kawhi Leonard move. Why did Kawhi have to walk in and be like, all right, y'all need a second player, and I already called Paul George, and he say he down to come.
You can listen or subscribe to The Right Time with Bomani Jones on the ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Get ready to transport yourself to beautiful vineyards, sip on the smoothest spirits, and indulge in delicious cuisine when the 3rd annual Skopelos Wine, Spirit, and Food Festival presents flavors from around the world. Sunday, July 28th at 3 p.m. Enjoy over 125 top wines and the smoothest spirits from around the world, all while learning about them from the experts. Stations will be set up throughout the ballroom featuring gourmet national and international culinary bites. Get tickets now online or at Skopelos at New World on Palafox.
Valero salutes you and all your finest moments. For those times you go beyond what you thought possible. Whether that looks like running that extra mile or that extra errand. For taking on a new challenge, a new adventure, or a new route to work. Wherever life's finest moments take you, get there with the finest fuel. Valero top-tier certified quality fuel. It keeps your engine running cleaner, better, and longer. Find a station near you at ValeroCleanGas.com.
And welcome back. Sports Drive with you right here, 5:18 on this Thursday evening. Chad Berliante with you, Jordan Glass having some fun. Jeffrey D will join us coming up here later on in the program. Had some fun yesterday sitting down with Alan Nicholson, the Northwest Florida Gator Club president, as the Gators getting set for a big year. They'll kick things off at August 24th. Not going to get one of those teams where you got to look up where they're at, like Abilene Christian versus somebody. It's in Texas, by the way. But they always throw that game in, and they're like, yeah, football! And you watch it, and you're like, yeah, it's not 100% sure this is FBS football. Not sure, but it's football. You know, they throw that Grey Cup in there. That's Canadian. I just heard the announcer say a boot. I know what this is. But, you know, you get the game right out of the gate. That's Florida versus Miami. And you know what? You got two major teams. It's going to be pretty exciting to watch.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and this is a intriguing game because of the unknowns. We don't know what we're going to get from Manny Diaz and this Miami team. Flat off the bat across all levels on all boards. We just don't know how good this Miami team's going to be or if they're even going to be good at all. And for Florida, if Felipe Franks plays like a lot of people that have been around Felipe Franks and have seen him work out throughout the summer thinks he can be, Florida could be a team that is in the college football playoff picture by the end of the season, because if Felipe Franks can limit those, we've talked about it before, and I agree with you on this. Felipe Franks is good for a couple of boneheaded decisions that's going to cost you a couple of games throughout the season. But he didn't do that the last 4 games of the season. He started to build his confidence, and I think something that was really good from media days that Dan Mullen said was he went to Felipe Franks when Felipe was having all the issues on Twitter and social media. The fans in the stands were booing him. His own fans were booing him out of the swamp. And I think it was actually after the Missouri game he told him this. He said, look, if you find somebody that's a better coach on Twitter than myself or Brian Johnson, our quarterback coach, we'll bring them in and give them a job, and they can coach you. And I think he kind of flipped that switch with Felipe, and you saw what happened in the last 4 games after that. And this is a guy that if he can play a full season like he played those last 4 games, still to be seen with a guy like Felipe Franks, but if he can, Florida's going to be a good football team because they have the talent. They've got the second best receiving core in the SEC behind Alabama. They've got depth at the running back position, not to mention they're probably going to be led by LaMichael Pirine, who is a fantastic running back. The offensive line has to get better, so that's their big question mark on offense. The defense, look, the front seven's got question marks because of guys that left and enter the NFL draft, but it's the defense at Florida. They're going to have talent there. They brought in a great talented defensive lineman from Louisville as a graduate transfer who can play right away, and he's going to be in the lineup, and I believe he's actually going to be filling C.C. Jefferson's spot. So I think Florida, if Felipe Franks, it all hinges on the offensive line play and Felipe Franks. If he can stay out of his head and just play football, this Florida team could be really good. But, yeah, this game against Miami is going to be a tell-all game, not just for Florida and Felipe Franks, but Miami as well.
Well, I think Florida, too, they realize sometimes quarterbacks in college football can show the confidence real fast and real quick. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes it takes some of these guys to develop. And a lot of times we expect as a society, this is just not football, but we expect people to show up and we expect people to immediately to be these, like the head, the CEO on day one.
Yeah.
But think about it. Trevor Lawrence, his first game last year, he didn't play a full game. He came into the game, and he injures his shoulder, and they almost lose to Syracuse at home. And next day in the paper, people are deeming this guy, looks like they made the wrong mistake. Where's Kelly Bryant? Get on the phone with Kelly Bryant.
They were doing it at halftime of that game against Syracuse. They were saying, nope, they need to call Kelly Bryant. So I think that we got a ghost in the studio talking to us or something. But yeah, I think for a guy like that, I think that was actually the best thing that could happen to Trevor Lawrence because it taught him a lesson first and foremost. Step out of bounds. Don't try to get any extra yardage. Just step out of bounds. Don't take an unnecessary hit. But then it also he got a taste right away of that social media, of that negative type stuff you can get from not only the media but social media as well, of people going, well, this guy's not who you thought he was. Bring Kelly Bryant back. And he kind of was introduced to that early on, and that allowed him to kind of just be like, all right, I need to block that stuff out and just play football.
And we also realized at that point that Clemson's got another good backup to the backup in Hunter Bryce. Yeah. I mean, they've got a long slate of good quarterbacks, as you would expect. But, I look at that team and say, that game, we realized we thought he was pretty much not who everybody thought he was in less than 3/4 of work.
Right.
And for a guy like Felipe Franks, he wasn't that good to start. He wasn't that great through a lot of last year, but he got better. And I'm willing to say this year that he could get more confidence and become that guy. We already know that Jake Fromm's, the Trevor Lawrence's, the Tuas are going to be fine. But there's other questions. Like Justin Herbert, I wasn't sold on him last year. But you know what? When you have a guy that decides I could be one of the top, if not the top quarterback in the NFL draft, and I'm going to go back to college, got that Nike money, 15,000 different combinations of neon green crossing guard uniforms.
Don't forget the pink one for
That's
October.
right. Yeah. Football helmets, if you shine it at the right angle, can blind a defensive end with your silver helmets. Get that sun right off of it. Can't see. Run a QB draw. But Justin Herbert came back because he believes that he wants to prove everybody and they can be that team. And to have them as a preseason top 10 shows that a lot of people do have confidence in them.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it. And I think these kids, 19, 20-year-old kids, I remember sitting there watching Colt McCoy play as a true freshman. It's the first game ever at Bright House Stadium. Oh, here we go. He's going to bring up UCF. UCF is its first game ever, and they called it the trampoline effect. And people were jumping around out there at Bright House. The difference was it wasn't trampoline effect. Somebody just did a horrible job on the infrastructure of the cement, and it was actually very dangerous. But people were hopping around to the Woe song that they claimed. And then all of a sudden, you're watching this game, and in the fourth quarter, with a couple minutes left in the game, Josh Sitton was on this team, a bunch of the guys, Kevin Smith, you had a lot of players, Brandon Marshall, the receiver, and they're playing against Colt McCoy and Jamal Charles. Pretty decent combo.
Yeah.
Texas is a 38-point favorite in the game. UCF has a 6-point lead with just 2 minutes to go. And first game ever. And I'm sitting there, and I lost my voice, obviously, because I was singing tunes. That's what I was doing that day as a college kid. And so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I watch Colt McCoy throw this ball that should have been picked, and the game would have been over. The guy drops it. But I'm like, this guy's not that good. I remember watching that and saying, Colt McCoy is not that great of a quarterback. And everybody talked about this guy being the next best thing, true freshman. Jamal Charles, as he did many times in the pros and in college, busts like a 70-yard run for a touchdown. Nobody on UCF's roster is going to catch him. And he goes in. Even Atari Bigby, you had Asante Samuel, you had a couple guys, NFL-caliber players. Nobody was going to catch him. Goes in for a touchdown, and the game is over. Texas wins.
Yeah.
And as UCF many times in their career gets brownie points for just being close. Like, attaboy, buddy. And what happens is you watch Colt McCoy in the next couple years develop into a quarterback before getting rocked by Marcel Darius into a guy that almost won a national title. And he wasn't that good, but he had developed over the 3 years into a quarterback that was worth being a Heisman Trophy winner.
Right, yeah.
That year you had Colt McCoy, Sam Bradford, and Tim Tebow that were all worthy of being Heismans. And he wasn't that way as a freshman. So I'm willing to give opportunity to guys that are showing strengths of getting better. I think fans want to see that too. If you're a Florida State fan, you expect to be better because it can't get much worse. But there was nothing from last year that said, you know what? We're showing signs that we're going to take that next step. Florida State was 5-7. You got to feel worried besides the offseason coaches. Kendall Briles, new offensive line coach. Those are the only things you need to be based on that it should get better based on new coaches. Team like Nebraska, another prestigious team that we've seen before. They finished 5-7, but all signs pointed to Nebraska, the way they finished the season, becoming a contender down the road. It's all about the mental game, and for me, Felipe Franks has proven to many that even he was the guy that slid on 4th and 3 a yard short at 6'6", 250. Come on, Buttercup. The end of the day, his team got better as the season progressed, and he got better. So I'm willing to say he's going to be a quarterback that can compete in 2019.
Yeah, and I think if you look at Felipe Franks, when he first started at Florida, you go back to his very first game was that game in Dallas to start off the year with Jim McElwain as the head coach against Michigan. That was it ended up being a very tough game for him. But you look early in that game, he made a couple of throws, and as a matter of fact, there's been one throw that's kind of been the highlight the past little bit of people kind of making the point that Felipe Franks can actually be a top quarterback this upcoming year in the SEC. They point out a nice little back shoulder fade. He throws, I believe, I want to say, I can't remember the receiver's name at the time, but it was a nice back shoulder throw, put it perfectly where it needed to be, where only his guy could get it down the sideline against Michigan early in that game when it was still tied at 0. I think it was Florida's opening drive of the game. And people were pointing to that saying, look, he has the tools. He just did not have the right coaching with Jim McElwain. He also did not have the type of mentality that Dan Mullen's going to put in him. And I think going back to what Dan Mullen said that he told Felipe at SEC Media Days on Monday, he didn't have that with Jim McElwain. He didn't have somebody pull him off on the side and say, look, it's a bunch of armchair quarterbacks running their mouth probably in their mama's basement on Twitter. If you can find one of them that's a better coach than me or Brian Johnson, we'll bring them in and we'll let them take over our jobs. But until that, listen to us, ignore them. He didn't have that with Jim McElwain. He's got that with Dan Mullen. He trusts his coaching staff. This coaching staff now trusts him. And I think we're going to see a different Felipe Franks this season.
Well, sometimes things happen in sports, and we always joke with the injury reports on things. Today we're going to go over I'm going to give you a couple of these that players have been hurt in sports, and you tell me whether or not you're going to rag on them when they get back or whether you're going to give them a hall pass.
Okay.
Here we go. Rag or hall pass here. That didn't sound right. All right, here it is. Sports injuries. Jake Fromm getting a fishing hook stuck in his leg on that trip.
I'm going to rag him. He's going to have a bait and tackle kit in his locker
there
when he
you
comes
go.
back. Yeah.
Hook, line, and sinker on that one. All right, next one here. Marty Cordova burned his face while falling asleep at a tanning bed.
That is, it's unfortunate, and it's actually a fear that most people have in tanning beds, I would assume. But no, I'm going to leave him be on that one.
No, I'm going to let him know. He's a big guy too, but Marty Cordova looks sort of like your bronze, like your statue. Like
Right.
we always joke, Jason Garrett is a mall mannequin. Think about it, Dallas Cowboy fans. If Jason Garrett, if he stood there and he put some board shorts on with like a tank top, he is a mall mannequin. You put him with that fake family with a little beach ball, like Jason Garrett's a mall
Give him
mannequin.
some sunglasses like this.
Exactly. Marty Cordova, you can see him at Belk right now. Vineyard Vine shirt.
The Florida one.
Yeah, Marty
Yeah.
Cordova is like this, this big Italian guy. Everybody like the Rico Suave kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now he is also plays baseball. You're out there on a field at like 10 a.m. Turn a hat backwards in July. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't need to be in a tanning bed.
Well, here's my question: how badly was he burned? Was it like second degree?
Severe burns. No, he missed the game.
Okay.
He missed the game because his severe burns.
Right.
Second degree burns.
Okay.
Like
I was gonna
his
say,
face was
if it was just like
probably
an extreme,
boils.
if it was just like an extreme sunburn, then yeah, you give him a hard time.
I bet he had boil. I mean, he had
Yeah.
boils on his face. I would say, even with that being said, because he set himself up, I would have put probably some sunscreen in his locker when he got back, like some SPF 1500. All right, and then 2 free tickets to the beach, just written in like handwriting, like you do for your dad. You know, like the best gifts when you're younger and can't afford a gift.
Yeah,
and you're
the
like,
little
mow
booklet,
the
yeah.
lawn. I
Yeah.
owe you a mow the lawn ticket. And your dad's like, oh, that's great.
And then that
really
one
wanted
day,
that pair of shoes, son.
That
but
one day it's 105 outside. Your mom goes, "Honey, will you go mow the grass? Yeah, I'll take care of it." Shh. Just crap. Here comes the coupon.
Worst dad ever award. When you have that kid, he's like, he gives you a little list, like he gives you an artwork from school at 5, and then he writes like, "Daddy, I will make you dinner and I will cut the lawn," and you're like, "Son, I wanted some Sperry's."
Yeah.
What the hell, man? And I'd be like, "But I can't afford it. Where are they? Get him out of here. Get him out of my sight." All right, going over here. Are we gonna let it go? Or are we going to give him, a hall pass on this one or bust him on this one? Ken Griffey injured his cojones because he went to jump for a ball and the cup caught him at a certain angle. I would just sort of leave this one alone because we've all felt bad for that. I'm going to leave this one alone because we feel the pain on that. He did not obviously want to cause himself injury, but he missed time on that because of that. So we're going to I think we collectively say give him a hall pass on that.
I think every guy's
All right.
going, he had pain there. Yeah, give him a pass.
Nolan Ryan, always
Yeah.
Advil commercials. Attacked by a coyote while taking out the trash. Bit his leg. He missed 2 weeks. He had to get rabies shots.
That's a guy you mess with him. Like after practice, he's like in the shower or something. You just come up and,
You know he's going to beat you up for what you.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's still,
that's
it's
a good.
funny.
You definitely have like those little puppets of the coyote, like when he's on the. You know,
get a stuffed coyote and put it in his locker. Yes.
You know the goalie masks that you wear in NHL. That day, the catcher needs to wear the coyotes with the teeth, like the one right up there. Every time he pitches. All right, Wade Boggs putting on his cowboy boots, fell and twisted his ankle, missed 2 days. Now Wade Boggs, in defense of Wade Boggs, he was probably completely drunk.
Yeah,
and when I mean in defense, he was always drunk. There's no in defense. Like he makes it worse of the story.
He gets a walker. We're gonna mess with
Yeah.
him. He gets a walker and a schedule for AA meetings. That's what he gets.
I would get the guy. See how we would mess with him. I'd get the guy at the stadium. And he did this when he was at the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, so his career was pretty much over. But you go in there and you make sure to play "These Boots Are Made for Walking" as his comeback song. That's what I'm saying. These boots are. Wait a second. Where is this music? That's not my. I was going to play AC/DC. What is coming? All right. Gus Frerotte, neck injury. Remember this one? He smashed his head against the wall after the touchdown.
He smashed. Yeah. You could mess with him a little bit.
I think his career was over. His career should have been over anyway.
That could have been dangerous, though. So
That's what I'm saying. He was celebrating a touchdown.
Yeah.
If you're celebrating something that has given your team some love. Wade Boggs fell because he was drunk with boots in his hotel room. That didn't give anybody else passion. Maybe. Now you never know what happened that night. But Gus Frerotte was celebrating a touchdown. Just probably shouldn't have crushed his head like he was at a heavy metal concert. I'm going to give him a hall pass. Glenn Allen Hill. It depends your theory on arachnophobia on this one. Glenn Allen Hill woke up in the middle of the night, ran down the stairs, and ran right through a glass table, shattering his arm and got severe lacerations in his arm from the glass and cut open, but ran into a glass table full speed because he was having dreams that he was being attacked by spiders.
You know, this is a tough one because, okay, if it cuts in the right spot and the right angle, he's probably dead and bleeds out.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's where this is an unfortunate situation.
Which makes for a terrible sermon during the funeral
He
there.
got really lucky on that. But at the same time, you can get way too many of those little tiny plastic spiders at a toy store for so cheap.
Oh, I'm not going to. If this guy had
those spiders are everywhere.
Jordan, if this guy had dreams of getting attacked by a spider and he almost killed himself, like I'm not going to mess with him in the dugout with even a fake one, the ones you get like on Halloween.
Just get one of the big 3-foot ones that Halloween stores have here. Hey man, face your fear. Throw it to it.
We're gonna watch a little bullpen session of the team we're playing here, and all of a sudden it goes to the movie Eight-Legged Freaks.
Arachnophobia, yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, get him out. Glenn Allen Hill, by the way, too. You know, cool cold hard fact here.
What's that?
Longest home run ever at Wrigley Stadium, even more than Sammy Sosa. Yeah, he hit one that went 513 feet, and it went over the road, over the guys that are hanging out trying to cheap up tickets, and then they got smart and started to sell tickets on top of those rooms in the back out there in left field. He hit it across the street and actually over onto the other side into there, and some guy caught the ball. 513 foot right there. Maybe it was a little windy that day at Wrigley, but crushed the ball. So, and then ran through a table. The highs and lows of a career. Longest home run at Wrigley, farther than Sosa, and running through a table and lacerating yourself because you thought dreams of spiders. Moving on here as we are looking at the craziest injuries in sports. John Smoltz, second-degree burns, tried to iron his shirt while he was wearing it. Had to miss his start.
I've done that before. I'm going to give him a pass.
I've thought of doing that.
Like, I've burned myself opening a bag of popcorn and the steam hit your hand. So, no, I'm going to give him a pass.
I'm not going to lie on this. I would do that. But I'm too lazy to iron shirts. I throw them into the dryer on high mode.
Yeah.
I actually said one time I like to fluff them, and I said I'm a fluffer, and someone said don't say that on air. I clearly said that. So I like to make sure my shirts are pressed.
Opens up the show to a whole new fan base, though.
I got to trade with a company with these suits. Why do you think I'm wearing these? All right. As we move on here, Joel Zumaya injured his wrist, carpal tunnel from Guitar Hero.
Yeah, you're going to rag him on
that. You better rag him on that.
Yeah, Guitar Hero, sure, yeah.
Yeah, sure. That's how you got carpal tunnel. All right, on that note, let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk some college football, SEC Media Days, Auburn, Vanderbilt, Kentucky on the mic. We're coming back for more.
Guys, the secret is out. If you want healthy sex, your body needs nitric oxide. And now you can boost your nitric oxide production faster than you thought possible with Ageless Male Tonight, the absurdly fast formula from the #1 brand in male enhancement. Just take one capsule an hour before romantic activity. You'll get clinically tested ingredients that rapidly boost nitric oxide production, and it won't go unnoticed. Rush to Walmart and get Ageless Male Tonight.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
He was a star quarterback at Pensacola High, played alongside Gator great Steve Spurrier, and rose up the ranks to become head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Now, he's talking football on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Coach K brings football to life year-round. The teams, the players, and the front office. Talk football with Coach K every day at noon on your radio. And Coach K live on Facebook and YouTube at ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
The Bill Barnwell Podcast.
The Ringers, Robert Mays. The New York Giants, over 5.5 wins. Over 5, they only got to get to 6.
Oh, God. 6 is not an easy task for that team, my man. I think that Eli is so incredibly washed, it's hilarious.
There's a chance Daniel Jones is better than Eli Manning, no?
There's a chance.
The Bill Barnwell Podcast. Subscribe now on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Experienced truck drivers. Schneider has the driving careers you've been looking for. Schneider's dedicated driving jobs mean consistent miles and predictable home time. Choose from over 50 unique dedicated accounts. Career growth opportunities mean you can transfer to any type of position. There are 38 types of driving jobs at Schneider and training and office jobs. Plus, our consistent paychecks and comprehensive benefits equal peace of mind for both you and your family. Find out more at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
And welcome back. Sports Drive with you right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and on Blab TV. He was confirmed and then got a not sure because I know they've been out at Birmingham for the big, I guess, conventions going on. I don't know. They're partying.
Some
but
kind of board
Pat
meeting,
Dye. It was a board
like
meeting
Coach
going
Stallings
on.
said.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Gene Stallings was out there yesterday. And so hopefully Pat Dye will join us. But I know he's a little busy right now. Nothing like bumping into Nick Saban where you're going to get on a private plane right there as they did. But Pat usually joins us at 6. You never know what you're going to get, but we'll see if he calls us back here in a little while. I know he's not going to be up until about 20 minutes from now, but we've been texting back and forth. Nothing like little Thursday texts with Pat Dye. You know what I'm saying? It's just what. Actually, today was talking with one of our new sponsors who will be coming on here for the football season with our injury report. Eric Nielsen, Dr. Eric Nielsen of Nielsen Orthopedics, does a great job. He's with Andrews, started his own group, and he is the Auburn team doctor. And a great guy, one of the nicest guys. We talked for about 2 hours and just talked about sports, a lot of the people we know. I got more from him in the 10 minutes talking to him about my toe because I just slipped that in there. Look, I was on crutches. Like I was I was looking like, Professor X last week coming up here.
Yeah.
And not on my own behalf.
No, Friday you came in and I looked at you and was like, do you want to go back home and go get in bed? I can handle the show.
It was bad. I mean, I already have a little bit of the Kramer for me, but that was bad that day. And he told me more than likely it is some form of gout, which is not good to know. But it is, it sounds like it's reoccurring. And
I don't mean to laugh, but I can just see you like, so by the way, you can get this many spots for this and this. And what do you
what do you think, by the way? All right, we're going to put you on the show, and how about this redness right here on the outside of my – no, but I didn't even take off the shoe or anything, but and I'm not 100% sure because I had to miss time for work, by the way, a little, and I was letting people know I've never missed almost any time. You turn into a lot of the shows and people are off. And, the one time I think I missed was I was doing the Florida Sports Hall of Fame, and you and Davis came in and did the show. That's like the last time that I've missed a show. And it wasn't because I was missing it. I was sitting there at the Florida Sports Hall of Fame. So
you were still working.
Even that day I should not have been here, and I was there. Now, what we were saying pretty much was, this got to a point where do you show somebody a picture of your toe like that to get off work? Clearly the toes kind of thing, like my toe hurts, and be like, what a bunch of, look at this guy. I can't even show up.
I think
this,
in your case, you showed
I did.
the picture of the
I
toe,
clearly did, and people got that because I could not walk. Let's move on from these toe conversations. And let's get to, we're done with my toe. Yeah. But Dr. Nielsen was talking about Auburn, and one of the things that we talked about was, they've had such a rich history, but I compared, and take this for what it is, it's my opinion, dude, but Auburn is sort of the Wisconsin of the SEC. Would you say that? And what I mean by that is not style of play. They're not a bunch of big.
No, but they have high expectations going into the season every year, and they never live up to it.
I'm saying sort of more of you just expect them in our minds to always be no greater than 10-2, but no worse than 8-5. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You're sort of like you're always going to be good. Where other teams like Penn States and Florida's and Florida States and Michigan States even, there's a lot of teams that have great years, Texas's, USC's, but then they fall off for a couple years.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, you always expect, no matter what their resume, no matter who their running back is, whether it's Melvin Gordon or a guy you've never heard of, to be a 9-3 team, 10-2 team. Auburn, in our minds, they're not Alabama, but most people expect them to be in that range.
Right, yeah.
Not Auburn fans, but when you think Auburn, I think 8-4, 9-3, like every year. No matter who, they have Oregon this year, they have LSU, no matter what, they're always going to be consistent. However, they've sort of been that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. When we don't expect them to win, they go to a national title.
Yeah.
When we expect Jeremy Johnson to be the savior, he gets benched. Sean White doesn't work out, and they end up being a 6-6 team.
It was a rough year.
It was a very rough year.
Yeah.
This year, there's a lot of intrigue with Bo Nix, Joey Gatewood, who's going to win the job. True freshmen we have seen have been able to step into an organization. We've seen guys before that are true freshmen that have taken over. Look at last year, the national championship game. You had a true freshman versus a true sophomore, and the year before, you had a true freshman versus a true freshman.
It's true.
In Tua versus Jake Fromm. So you're having true freshmen that have proven that good enough with the right roster, they can take their team to the next level. I just don't know enough right now to say that one of these quarterbacks is going to – they have baby steps to take to save Gus Malzahn's job before they talk about a national title.
Yeah, but this is the type of year, and I think if you look at Auburn is talented.
They're very talented.
They have the
Their
talent.
defensive front's one of the best in the country.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think this is the thing that is going to be the catalyst for them. Whenever Gus Malzahn has to win and his back is against the wall and it's his job that's on the line, he finds
You throw a
way.
dodgeball at him. Okay, sorry.
You can do that too, but it's probably what Nick Saban wants to do. But he finds a way to win every single year whenever that's the case, and that's the kind of year he's going into this year. You talked about it. I mean, obviously, I've been on our sister station, Cat Country, during the midday, so I haven't been doing Talk Football the past couple of days, but I believe it was Monday. I was talking to Coach about it on Talk Football, and we were talking about Auburn. It might have been Friday of last week, but we were talking about how many wins he needs to have to save his job. Coach said, I think 10 wins. Anything less than 10, maybe 9, he might lose his job. And I think because he's in that type of year to where he almost has that quota of you got to perform at this type level, I think we're going to see an Auburn team that's actually going to be a little bit more scrappy. I'm not going to say that they're going to be in the college football playoff picture, but they're definitely going to be scrappy, and there are going to be some games where people look at that and go, oh, yeah, they've got no chance in that game, that they're actually going to be hanging around in.
You know, I think that was what you said. I take a lot of that, and I'm not going to paper shred it. Okay, and I'm just like, well, thank you for that compliment, sir. No, I actually like what you were saying there, but the only thing I'm going to disagree is I think that it's not about the win-loss total.
Right.
It's more, I mean, it ultimately is about having a great season.
It's
the eye test. And that's the thing about sports is, look, Jimbo Fisher, what did they finish last year? I know they won their bowl game, but what was it? Was it 9-4?
9-4, I think.
Okay, that was because of a savior, which a lot of people wouldn't have even given that win, that 7 overtime against LSU, which they actually lost twice, but, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. Good win. It was a great game. It gave me something to do as the tryptophan kicked in during the Thanksgiving with the leftovers. Right. My wife had already gone to bed, which was good as an LSU fan, and so I was like, oh, thank goodness she didn't see this. Chad, who won the game? Yeah. Who won that game? Oh, no. Shh. Nobody won that. But that game, if they lose that, they finish the regular season 7-5.
Yeah.
But their perception was, what an incredible run by Texas A&M, how good they got because they were competitive against Clemson. They were competitive against a number of teams. They beat some of the top-tier teams. And the year before, Kevin Sumlin was out of a job at 8-4. So it's all about the perception of the style of how you're playing and how you're winning. And if you're competing against the top-tier teams, that is something that's important. If you lose a game to Alabama and you lose a game to Georgia and you're Auburn and you lose those games 21-20 on a block kick or something like that, nobody's going to feel that bad. They're going to feel, you know what, this team's very competitive. But if you go out there and get waxed, you're not going to be showing up. That's why Florida State, it's not about the record. People keep saying, well, you know what, man, a lot of teams are 5-7. No, Florida, let's not lie to everybody. I have never seen a Florida State team in my lifetime look like, suffering where them and Sanford was a coin toss in the fourth.
And let's not forget, going back to what you were talking about Texas A&M with the eye test, the week before that LSU game, we pulled the schedule up here, the week before that LSU game, they actually were struggling at home against UAB.
Yes,
now,
they
UAB
were, yeah.
was a good team last year, but they weren't quite at that level that should be competing with Texas A&M. But UAB had an opportunity to win that game. I think UAB actually was within one score at halftime, and Texas A&M pulls away in the second half. But, yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be the eye test for Auburn this year.
And that's going to be key right there. And look, Gus Malzahn proved last year in his final game as the play caller, that was his show. That was his chance to put on a little bit of a show. And we know he's a great offensive mind. Look what he did with Cam Newton. A lot of people say, Gus Malzahn wasn't the head coach, but he still was the one that worked with Cam Newton to what they did.
Yeah.
Gene Chizik, who is a well-spoken gentleman, didn't have the accolades when he was at Iowa State. A lot of people said he got that job, and the rest was history. So I look at a lot of situation here and say, I think Auburn, we know that Gus Malzahn is going to be on a hot seat, but at the same time, there's so much intrigue. If you look at any team in the country, to me, the intrigue is going to be Auburn with the quarterback situation, because I don't know enough about Joey Gatewood and Bo Nix, besides they both are talented. Joey Gatewood's a huge man, but I don't know how good they're going to be in competition, where, in fact, this year, across the board, we know almost every other quarterback in the SEC, Mons, Franks, Tua, Fromm. Everywhere you look, Burrow, everywhere you look, there's usually a quarterback that we at least know or have seen what they're capable of doing, compared to what is a team that has high expectations for a guy who's about to lead a team that we're not sure.
Yeah, and I think talking about these two guys, I think one of the things that, and we're Coach Dime may be coming up here in about 10 minutes on the show.
We'll see about that,
but
might be on the excavator too. So.
But he's talked about these two guys before, and he said if you combine these two, you get something that's very similar with Cam Newton. That Bo Nix has the arm along the same lines of Cam Newton, and just could throw it down the field at pinpoint accuracy. But then also you've got Gatewood, who's a guy who's got the size and the strength to just run you over like Cam Newton. The only problem with that is you can't line them both up at the quarterback position at the same time. So Gus Malzahn's got to figure out, do I want to go with the power running game and continue that RPO, or do I want to continue what we started in the bowl game against Purdue and throw the ball a lot more? He's got two guys that are going to be solid choices, whatever he decides to do. But, yeah, I agree. It's going to have to be week one against Oregon before we find anything out about either one of these guys. And they're both expected to probably get some playing time against Oregon, which, you know the old saying, you got two quarterbacks, you don't have any. And that could be bad for Auburn against a very good Oregon football team. But still, we'll at least find out who the better quarterback is between the two.
Well, yeah, and if you had two quarterbacks and combine them into one, that'd be one heck of a stiff arm to two defenders while being able to throw it and also scratch the back of your neck. We're coming back for more right here in the Sports Drive.
If you're hitting 200 at the plate for the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, life isn't that great. But if you're hitting up 200 before the Wahoos games, things can't get much better. 200 South is your Blue Wahoos pre-party destination. Grab an ice-cold draft with the best selection in town at World of Beer. Relax in the most hoppin' spot at Blend Lounge. Or grab a quick bite to eat at Graffiti Pizza or Taco Aguave before the game. 200 South Palafox in downtown Pensacola. Peanuts and Cracker Jacks are all right, but a slice and an ice-cold draft, now that's a home run.
Sports is live and local every Saturday from 11 to 1.
Kawhi, him and his free agency, or him just sitting around waiting to sign with the team, had a lot to do with more than just the Lakers. There were other teams that were tied into this trade as well to determine their next moves. And for the Lakers, they still haven't finalized the Anthony Davis deal.
Sports Call with Jordan Glass and Davis Allen on your radio, on Facebook, and YouTube.
Southern California basketball is going to be where everybody's paying attention to this upcoming season.
At ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Welcome back to Sports View. Today's topic, who's the greatest of all time? For my money, it's Progressive's Home and Auto Bundle. It literally saves you money. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Look, it's simple.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Add up all the heroes, take away the zeros, and what you got? One big trophy of me saying, I told you so.
I disagree.
Thanks, fellas. Took the words right out of my mouth.
There's really no debate. Progressive's Home and Auto Bundle is a winning combination. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
Business owners of Escambia and Santa Rosa counties, listen to this important message.
This is Jeffrey, the marketing consultant for ESPN, News Radio 92.3, and Talk Radio WEBY. I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people just like you increase their business traffic and drive revenue into their doors. My service works. I design creative, attention-getting commercials that get results. It works for them and will work for you. I know what you're thinking. No one listens to commercials, right? Well, you just did. Call me, Jeffrey, 262-6000.
Welcome to Sherwin-Williams.
Hi there. I heard paints are 40% off.
Yep, and stains too.
Right here.
Mm-hmm. Only at your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store.
Right now.
Well, July 19th through the 22nd.
Right on.
Right? Ask Sherwin-Williams, July 19th through 22nd, and save 40% on paints and stains with sale prices starting at $23.09. Only at your local Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Welcome back, Sports Drive with you right here on ESPN Pensacola. Didi Gregorius, one of our favorites right there from the Pensacola Blue Wahoos back in the day, is at the plate here against the Rays, and he's going up against Hunter Wood, who's a reliever, who looks straight out of a 70s movie right there. Like he is working as the drummer. That, I guess if you're a reliever, why not? Like, you only get to make a cameo. Think about how much you get paid, and you only get to make a cameo for about 10 minutes. Maybe it might be like in a series. Right. If your team's up a lot, because they're situational closers. There's the guys that you haven't made the team a lot. If you're out there and you are going out there and throwing a bunch of pitches when your team's trailing by 10. If you're out there and your team's trailing by 10, but you get a lot of PT, that means you haven't made the middle reliever. You're not trying to be one of those guys, the 7th, 8th setup guys to win games. You're like, yeah, you're still on the roster, but until this guy that throws 101 comes up here from AAA, you're done. So Hunter Wood comes in here. This guy is crushing it with the hair right now. Look at that. Got a pop-up. He's done his job.
Yeah,
he
kind of, with
Jeffrey
the,
D, folks, everybody, by the way, that voice. Where'd you
come
from? Hey, all right.
I just kind of showed up.
Yeah, that's right. He just.
But
who the heck is this now?
But yeah, Hunter Wood. I mean, my goodness, he was. He's bringing the heat, and
he is.
He
like some exciting wood going on.
Look at all that. He's got facial hair. Yeah. He's got the big mane in the back.
He does.
He's got a hat on. It kind of looks like Cousin It from the old Addams Family.
Nothing like after he just got back-to-back outs to pop this stat. The Rays bullpen, 4.19 average, 7.30 ERA. They're like, thank you, buddy. Like, put that right next to. No, that's the thing. Like, Hunter Wood might have done none of that. Like, he comes in here, does his job, and they're like, worst bullpen in the history of the game right here. Like, all right, with that hair, he's going to take some people out in the parking lot right there. But let's get to some more important spots. Like, are they breaking down the closers for Tampa Bay Rays right now? So, no, we're not. It is not even the setup man. Looking at some of the things going on here today, you had a couple teams out there for SEC Media Days. Guys, stop watching it. You're getting my attention off here now.
We're
please.
distracted.
It's like a Herbal Essence commercial.
Unless we get a mirror right here where I can see the ricochet right here. Let's talk a little bit about SEC Media Days. Jeff, today you had a coach in Gus Malzahn in Auburn. You had Kentucky, and you had the man who looks like he's about to go to combat every game right there in Derek Mason with that bulletproof vest / Vanderbilt logo. Who do you think, out of the three coaches, is the one that has the most intrigue going into 2019?
I really like Vanderbilt's skill positions. Keyshawn Vaughn could be the player of the year in the league this year. I mean, he's that good. If they were still taking high-quality running backs in the first round of NFL drafts, he'd be a candidate for that. And then Lipscomb, the wide receiver, terrific player. Their tight end is kind of an NFL future draft pick as well. So if they can find a quarterback, then Vanderbilt, I think, can do things offensively that you haven't seen them do in the past.
You think, looking at Kentucky, you lose Josh Allen, who was a beast, incredible at his job. Yeah. You lose a guy in Benny Snell, who is one of the hardest running guys I've ever seen, ever. I mean, he didn't get drafted high in the NFL, but he would just run over people, just kept those legs chugging. He reminded me a lot, and he's not as good. This guy was the all-time leading running back for a while before Derrick Henry and Pensacola's own, who was drafted in the top 5. But he reminded me a lot of the style of a Trent Richardson, who said, you know what, you might put a couple guys on my back, but I'm carrying you for 9 more yards. And he didn't care who was in front of him. If it was a defensive tackle or a linebacker or a cornerback, I'm running you over. Benny Snell was fun to watch, but he's gone. Kentucky still has athletes, and they feel like everybody still is like, yeah, that was a fluke season. They're going to go back to being that 6-6, and good luck in that bowl game and Outback Bowl where you play against Iowa and nobody cares, and you get your Seiko watch and a Best Buy gift card, and who cares? It's Kentucky. You know, where's Ashley Judd? Where's the basketball team out there? You're like, that's what most people are feeling. And I think Kentucky has said it over and over. They feel like they have a better team this year than they did last year.
I don't think so. They've lost 8 guys on defense, 4 guys in the NFL draft. They're not going to be nearly as good defensively.
Not finger looking good?
And they were already bad offensively. Kentucky drops to the bottom.
Not a masterpiece with 2 sides. We're coming back for more right here in the Sports Drive.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 945. Catch all the Wahoos games home and away all season, plus all the latest Wahoos news from Chad Brillante on the Sports Drive, 5 till game time weeknights. And hey, if your business would like to partner with us as an advertiser or with a local sports promotion, then give us a call at 850-262-6000 or shoot us an email from the advertise page on ESPNpensacola.com.
Throws up the middle. At the 40. Derek Brooks 30. Brooks to the 25. He's getting Derek Brooks all the way. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Derek Brooks, the dagger's in. We're going to win the Super Bowl.
Bubba Watson is wearing a green jacket, and this time his name is Bubba.
Pitch on the way. Russell drives one in the air. Deep left center. That's back near the wall. It's got a chance. Grand slam. Grand slam, Addison Russell. The new WNBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
And Richardson breaks free on the sideline. End zone. How about that? Bama scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And these them Louisiana, Pensacola guys, they looking crazy and all that.
Morris, blocked by the tight end Paul. That opens up the door. Breaking the coverage tackle. To the pylon. Touchdown.
Really nice effort there by Alfred Morris, extending that ball over the goal line.
Near side ball is that big game. Doug Baldwin's got a first down. And Doug Baldwin, 93 yards, now has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
Reggie Evans, and he's going to get an ovation. Guy from Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome back, Sports Drive, right here, ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and on Blab TV. Thanks for joining us here. Chad Brillante, Jordan Glass, Jeffrey D., Jeff Davis with us as we count down the days. We are about 35 days away from college football season and pretty excited as Florida and Miami, 2 teams we cover, will kick off the season. We are your home for college football here in the South, and you also can catch the UWF Argonauts as well as high school football and all the biggest games in the NFL from coast to coast, and we're proud of it. Joining us now, somebody that I know that you like to hear a lot more than me because you grew up watching him on Saturdays right there with legends like Bo Jackson playing for him out there in Auburn in the Plains. Legendary Auburn coach Pat Dye joining us. Coach, we appreciate your time as always.
Well, thank you. I kind of been on the road today. I've had a great Southern Wood board meeting down in Abbeville, Alabama, and I spent yesterday and half of the day getting down there and getting back and going to the meetings. And just remember, if you don't have that little yellow tag on it, you don't want it.
That's right. No, I completely agree with that. I remember we were right there. They used to do a lot in Orlando. I know when I was in college, and we used to do some stuff with Yellowwood all the time. And no, you don't want it if it doesn't have that yellow tag.
No, well, we got a plant down there.
Yes.
You know, it's the largest wood preserving company in the world. And so Jimmy Rain's been a close friend of mine ever since I've been in Auburn. He went to Auburn, and just great company and organization, and been good for a lot of football, a lot of schools that in the Southeastern Conference and around Florida, South Carolina, Louisiana, everywhere in the Southeast. So it's and just you can tell everybody down there we still treating wood. It's all going good.
Well, that's a good ladder right there.
Well, as a matter of fact, I went to. He just built a new sawmill in Abbeville where they can stick a log in it and it comes out. It doesn't treat the lumber, but it comes out in the lumber, and then they got a short distance to get it into the treating plant. And, I mean, that's a smooth operation. They can treat a lot of wood.
Well, we were talking to
it goes all the way to Texas and all the way up to to Pennsylvania, and it's just it's a big company.
Yes, and it is one of the best, and they do a great job. We were actually talking to Coach Stallings when he was walking in yesterday to get ready for the meetings. I know he was there as well.
Yeah, we're the only two. We just got two new board members that are going to be great on the board, but Coach Stallings and I were the only two members of the board that weren't in the family. So I don't know what we contributed other than just moral support, because we don't even want to know anything about treating wood.
You know what, though? See, I believe when you and Gene Stallings, though, when two coaches that have worked around yards, and you with your Maple Reserve, you guys, you see a lot of people that advertise something, but I don't truly believe Tom Brady knows what the best watch for me is. I truly believe that you and Gene Stallings know what the best type of wood is for me for all your years out there on the farm. So listen, you guys are more than capable, not just because of your expertise and because of what you've accomplished on the football field, but you guys, from a coaching standpoint, I don't think Steve Spurrier knows half of what how to have a yard and an excavator like you guys do.
Well, I'm gonna cut some timber here in a couple of weeks. But I planted it in 1991, and this will be about probably the third time that we've cut it since I planted it. You thin it, and then you come back and thin it again, and then at the end you either clear cut it or just leave it sparsely with timber. And I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to leave this right now. Probably leave a little and clear cuts on them. So,
Coach, we had the SEC Media Days going on. I know it was right down the road there in Hoover, and you had today Auburn talking, Gus Malzahn, the quarterback situation with Gatewood and Bo Nix. Right now we already had some transfers, and it looks like at this point it's their job. Do you feel, in your opinion, who do you like to start that first game against Oregon?
I don't have a choice.
Well, who do you like from what you've seen, or just both of them?
Well,
Besides,
I like both of them. If it was me, I'd play both of them. I'd have a plan for both quarterbacks. I think they both can do the run and throw. Gatewood's a little better runner. Bo Nix may be a little better thrower. But they both have talent enough to run our offense, and I'm sure Coach Malzahn said today that he doesn't know who the starter's going to be, and nobody else does. I'm not sure that anybody does, and it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt to have a plan for both of them early in the season, and then settle on one if he stepped out and played better than the other one. So let's go into the game against Oregon with a plan to play both of them and win with two quarterbacks.
Coach, you're looking right now at when you have a number of guys changing out. You have Coach Malzahn, who's going to be taking over the offensive play calling, even though he's has a coordinator. You have Chip Lindsey down here coaching Troy. I saw Coach Lindsey not too long ago when Troy was down here with their caravans at McGuire's, and I'm telling you, he looked great in his innovative play callings against Purdue. But do you think that in today's football game, it's a good or bad thing to have the head coach doing the play calling?
Well, I think that this is the best situation that he's been in personally, and which makes it the best situation for our football team. I think Chip Lindsey did a great job, and I think he'll do a great job at Troy. But it was hard for Coach Malzahn to pull himself away from being a major influence in the offense. And he's got every right to, because he's the head football coach. But it's hard for two people to call plays, and there's too much confusion and too much time is wasted on the sideline trying to get a play in and out when a play's been called, and then you change it to another play, and then you. So, but I've noticed a tremendous difference in Coach Malzahn in the practice and the body language and the players on the practice field. It just, to me, what I've seen has been a big improvement, and I don't know how that will equate out when we line up and play some of the football teams we got to play during the course of the year with two young quarterbacks, but I think he's a lot happier, being in charge without any distraction.
Speaking with legendary Auburn coach Pat Dye, kind enough to make time for us each and every Thursday. Coach, yesterday Nick Saban, and you're not going to get a ton out of him. He gives you sort of a political look, but he doesn't need to give a ton because his actions speak louder on the field, winning titles. But he said they need to reestablish their brand, which a lot of people decided to sort of take their own look at that. To me, I sort of joke. I said, if Alabama needs to reestablish by going 14-0 and only losing to one incredible football team, then what in the bejesus does a team like Florida State have to do these days? But at the same time, what did you take from his comments? And do you agree that Alabama needs to reestablish anything?
No. They just need to have a good season. Coming up, and a good season to them is winning the West and playing in the SEC championship game and going to the playoffs and winning it. And here's what I think. I think there's some football teams that I don't know that Alabama has gone backwards. I think Clemson has gotten better. Georgia has gotten better. And his other teams around the country have gotten better. And that is going. When you play somebody as good as you are, and you know what your records are going to be?
5-0.
No.
Well, 500. 500. That's what I meant. Yeah.
You win half of it.
Yeah, 6-6. That's what I meant. 50%. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I went to UCF. Don't rag on me with my math. Come on now. Go.
Well, I looked at Coach Bryant's record against top football teams, and that's what he was. He was about 500 against the good teams. And the thing Coach Bryant didn't do, he didn't lose to, and Saban either, for that matter, he didn't lose the teams he was supposed to beat. And then he would beat some of them that he wasn't supposed to beat. So, but when you get as good as they are, and you got to really be picky to find something wrong with what they're doing in Tuscaloosa. Be just like being critical of what they're doing in Clemson or Georgia, for that matter. Everybody else is trying to get there.
I think that's a great point you're talking about, because I think they had their best offensive attack ever last year with Tua, and it's not that the team got worse, like you said. Back when they were winning a lot of games, there was no Clemson and Georgia of this caliber. Think about it. Ohio State and Oklahoma were always contenders, and they pretty much had the same type of resume and same type of team last year as they've had in the past. It just was you had a team in Clemson that we haven't seen be this good. Even with Deshaun Watson, they didn't have this good of a team. That defensive front were all first-rounders. And Georgia's gotten pretty much as good as it gets too. And Jake Fromm's a special player, and I think people don't give him enough credit as well.
Well, those defensive linemen, they all of them would have been drafted high if they'd have come out as juniors, and they chose to stay at Clemson and play the last year, and they ended up winning a national championship, and of course they've got. I guess he's probably the best quarterback in the country. At Clemson. Now I know did he look like that against Alabama in the national championship game. So we'll see. They're gonna have a challenge with Texas A&M first or second game in the season, and but Clemson is good. They recruit. They in the top 2 or 3 in the nation in recruiting right now, just like Alabama is. And let's say what does it say? The old saying, the old saying, don't you? It's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmys and the Joes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they got a lot of Jimmys and Joes.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they have a ton of them, and it's going to be an exciting year, and I'm looking forward to talking to you throughout the year, Coach. We got to head to a break here. We actually got to talk to someone today. Eric Nielsen, he used to work with Andrews, and he's one of the Auburn team doctors, orthopedic surgeon down here, and we had a great conversation. Yeah. Do you know Eric Nielsen?
I'm sure I would probably know if I saw him. But okay. Names, y'all, the Gators in the Southeastern Conference now, they are a dangerous football team, and if they can pick up what they left last year, they're going to be a contender in the conference, upset some folks.
Yes, they will. It's going to be exciting to see. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Well, Coach, have a great one.
Day.
Absolutely. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Right there. The only wood, yellow wood. That's true. Yeah, they do a great job. You can see the guy in the horse, the yellow suit. Sort of looks like the man version of Curious George's friend with the yellow hat. He's always on the good. It is the best wood in the South, by the way. It's the only wood I use.
Yeah, I mean it's terrific. They're in a terrific advertising campaign.
Yes,
it's gone on for years with Jimmy Raines and not Roman Reigns, but Jimmy Raines. And Yellowwood's the product.
Would you get it again? All right, let's go ahead and break on that note. That didn't need to even say. Let's just go ahead and tell you one more thing before we break. If you remember anything from this show, remember Adam Eaton, center fielder for the Washington Nationals, cut himself and missed 2 weeks trying to open a DVD. We're coming back for more right here in the Sports Drive.
Every Saturday from 11 to 1.
This Toronto Raptor team deserved this championship because they played their butts off in the series.
Sports Call with Jordan Glass and Davis Allen on your radio, on Facebook, and YouTube.
Hey, maybe you played for losing teams growing up. You just maybe don't understand what it's like to be a champion like this. But guess what? Whenever you are the best team in the world, you're going to let everyone know you're the best team in the world.
At ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5 is accepting applications for employment. Periodically, we have openings in sales, business, news, promotions, engineering, production, and programming. We'll keep your application for consideration when such an opening occurs. We also provide internships to qualified students. Apply online at ESPNpensacola.com or at our studios at 7251 Plantation Road behind University Town Plaza on Davis Highway between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. ADX Communications is an equal opportunity employer.
We know what you want. Good, healthy food that tastes great. Well, we're here to tell you it doesn't exist. Healthy food is for suckers, and if you say you like it, you're nothing but a chump. Be honest, this is what you want to eat. A gigantic burger from Steak Burger. It tastes amazing. What's in it? Who cares? How many calories? Shut up. It's awesome. So get over to Steak Burger now and get one in your belly, or you're a nerd. Feed your hunger the right way. Give it a Steak Burger, 440 East Chase Street, Pensacola.
The Big One sales event is on at Bob Tyler Toyota with special low Bob Tyler prices. New 2019 RAV4 LE just $219 a month. New 2019 Camry LE $179 a month. Or new 2019 Corolla LE just $99 a month. Bob Tyler Toyota has over 10 acres of pre-owned inventory, including Toyota certified vehicles. Hurry in before the Big One sales event ends. Through credit, 12,000 mile, 36-month leases, $49.99 cash or trade equity down, excludes tax tag, registration, title, 0 security deposit. All prices include $899.50 dealer fees. See dealer for details. Expires 7/31/19.
He was a star quarterback at Pensacola High, played alongside Gator great Steve Spurrier, and rose up the ranks to become head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Now, he's talking football on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Coach K brings football to life year-round. The teams, the players, and the front office. Talk football with Coach K every day at noon on your radio. And Coach K live on Facebook and YouTube at ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
And welcome back, Sports Drive. Thanks again to Coach Pat Dye for joining us here today on the show. Having some fun there. Jordan Glass, Jeffrey D. I'm Chad Brilliante. 850-972-1945 is the number to be part of the show. Watching the end here, the New York Yankees with a 6-2 lead over Tampa today, and they're a couple outs away from winning this one. Marlin Man is back there. If you don't know Marlin Man, it's a guy with the orange outfit, the orange Marlin shirts that I think they only did like for one day, and the orange hat. And he's at, I think there's like 50 of him cloned.
There has to be.
Because why is he at, this is a day, this isn't like an ESPN, the primetime game. He's always on Sunday Night Baseball, wherever that is. But Marlin Man does travel, but he's sitting there in New York for a Rays versus Yankee day game. Marlins actually had a game earlier today when they played San Diego, so he could have been there. But we'll go home tonight, and it'll be like, you'll have the Astros and Angels on, and he'll be there. I'm like, well, there's like 50 of them. I truly believe that there's 50 of this, and this is probably irrelevant to any of your conversation, but if you see a guy in an orange outfit, please contact me tonight, because somebody has figured out how to clone people.
Unless they're on the side of the road picking up garbage, and then that's not who we're talking about.
Just pays guys that look very similar to me right there.
It's he's one of the most famous guys that sit in the crowd.
He is, yeah.
But
right there with the heckler, Jack Nicholson.
But you guys might be too young, but there was a guy that used to wear a rainbow afro, and he would sit in the behind, the goalposts in NFL games. He'd go from
tried
side
to sell
side.
books to my family, and we locked him away.
And he'd stick up peace signs, and he'd have a John 3:16 sign, and he'd wave it, and he'd shake. And I went to the internet a couple months ago to find out how he's doing, and he's in jail. He ended up kidnapping somebody, and
Wait. So you're telling me a guy that always wore a rainbow outfit with a wig and would go to games and block people's view with a sign, he ended up in jail?
He did. And
looked like such an innocent, normal human being.
That's an easy Google. Just just rainbow afro.
Remember the Philadelphia heckler, by the way? 76ers heckler?
Faintly. I guess they don't let him do that anymore.
No. He used to say some bad things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have the Vandy Whistler that's still out there. And,
yes, he is. Yes.
And Craig Smith's maybe the only person in Pensacola that likes him. But there's been a lot of guys over the years that. What about that guy that would just kind of stare at the camera. Young guy. I guess he was on like maybe an Alabama student or something.
Oh, yeah. No, that was a Central Florida guy.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, it was.
Last year,
It was. Yeah.
He would just like
Just stare at the camera. And the two Florida State guys that would go with the fairy dust, scarlet and gold.
Yeah.
You know, the ones that always had that. Those were on a couple others. I like the Jen Sturger group better when they were on TV. But let's get to this one here. Speaking of fans, while we're on this subject here, guys, we're going to ask whether they annoy you or not. Guy that always cheers for the winning team but doesn't have a team at the game.
I don't like that guy. And I went to.
I was very confident. I don't see Jeff get a little. That was.
I went to an LSU game.
Borderline angry right there.
With a guy, and I'm not going to tell you who he is, but he said he was with us. He's a great guy, but he didn't have a dog in the fight, so he brought two hats. He brought an LSU hat and a Florida hat, and whoever was looking pretty good, he'd put that hat on. And
we don't like that guy.
I
don't like that guy.
He's a good guy, but that's a kind of a bad look.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not a fan of Drake.
All right. Guy at the tailgate party that makes it uncomfortable for everybody else. So you borderline on passionate, and they're
That
like...
happened one time, Chad. Come on. I apologize.
No. It's like 20... We all have that fan. Look, you go to the Northwest Florida Gator Clubs. Most of the people are pretty good. There was a guy at an LSU guy. I'm not going to put names, but Cordova Lanes, one of our great sponsors, Steve Reynolds, Shooter's Bar, great group of people out there. I love the people there. Speak at it every year, not just because they give me one of those Abita beers and get for Abita. But when it comes down to it, Turbo Dog, by the way. But when it comes down to this one guy up there, and he brings his family too, but he's always, oh my God, you're gonna run the ball on 2nd down and 7? Are you kidding me? 2nd and 7, you're gonna run the football? And I'm like, people run it on 2nd and 7. That's what LSU does. It's not 4th and 14, and they're fake punting it from their 5, dude. Like,
sets up a third and medium. It's smart.
But yeah, you're gonna pass 3rd and 12, and you're throwing it. Like, and I'm like, yeah, what is going on with it? Every play screaming, and he makes other people there because it's more of a casual group. It's not, the people on the beach. It's not like you're fist pumping at Ibiza. So we're down there, and I'm sitting there going, like, this guy needs to calm down. I'm not going to say anything. He's a lot larger than me, but I'm not going to. But I'm just like, that guy really annoys me. Passion, borderline on passion and just over-the-top stupidity, to me, is something that definitely is something. We all know that guy. We all know somebody at the game that is like that.
Sure. I mean, if you go to any college football game, and it's a big game, a game that draws a lot of passion and emotion, you can hear within earshot probably 50 people. And so if you've got some guy that's going to scream the whole time, then it's a little distracting.
And we're also, and I'm not, like I've said 100 times, your opinion, if you call in, we talk on the streets, we are the same people. With the show's televised, more people have recognized me out there and have conversations when I'm out there. Last time was at Richie's East Liquor, no joke, and I had about 15 bottles for a party. And it was for a party.
Said, hey, Jeff,
I had all these things, Jeff, but I had all these things, and all of a sudden people were like, I know that guy. And I'm like, all right, dude, this is bad look right now. Like, this is my wife's having a party. This is not mine. Like, and like everyone's like, oh, that's how we do. Hey, it's a good show. But when it comes down to popping Bortles, here's the thing. If you're that fan though, that is just always going to be annoying. Your opinion is just as much. But we do know the game. So when you're saying things, when I'm out there and we hear things because we do this for a living in sports, when you hear stupidity like that, like, what is he doing to be in the starting quarterback? Because your backup's a true freshman whose career stat is 1 for 9 with 4 picks. That's why he's still in the game, buddy. Like, and your team's 7-1. He threw 2 picks in the second half. He's having a bad game. Get off his case. But those people that just yell things just to yell things, it's just like, come on, dude, get over it. Next one here, the guy who is wearing the wrong sports jersey at a sporting venue. So we go to a Gator game. Mm-hmm. So Florida's playing Miami. It's in Orlando, home of the fake national champions. But a guy has like an LA Clipper jersey on. And it's the guy that probably shouldn't even be wearing a cutoff sleeve shirt. Looks more like the guy that shouldn't be wearing any short sleeve shirt. So that guy wearing an LA Clipper jersey at a Miami and Florida game this
weekend.
That's
a bad look as well. And, at least he's not wearing a Florida State jersey.
If it's an Orlando City shirt or something, you give him a pass because it's drawing.
Yeah.
We're in their city. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if it's like a Pittsburgh, first off, it's way too hot. But if you're wearing like a Pittsburgh Penguin long sleeve, like Tom Barrasso jersey or something like that, and that, like you're always like, what's this guy doing right now?
If he wore a UCF jersey, that'd be all right.
That's okay. Always
Orlando
fine.
Magic jersey.
Okay.
I mean, you can from that stadium, you look in a certain direction, you
Yes.
see where the Magic play. So I can understand that.
Understand
but
that.
yeah, a Clippers jersey is just like you look at it, it's like. So
Yeah,
did you buy that when they signed Kawhi? Or?
Yeah.
But you see that a lot, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you really do. I mean,
Guy who cares more about the wave than the game.
that's not a good look as well.
That guy starts
he's
to
on a
annoy
roll
me.
here.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
like three bad looks in a row.
That's a bad guy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and the wave is
Usually
distracting.
start by a drunk girl in a sorority.
Right.
We were talking the other day about playing 1AA opponents, and that's when you start to wave.
Yeah.
Is whenever you're ahead 40-0 in the second quarter. You don't do it in a tight football game against a rival.
No, you don't. Some people don't even know the game's still going on that are doing that. You know what I'm saying? And it's usually in blowouts. Last time I was involved in a okay wave, just because the two guys in front of me were doing it the whole game, so I had to stand to act like I was putting my hands up, but I was trying to push them over the bleachers so I could see. And it was Wake Forest, Florida State, and it was a couple years ago, and it was like 24-3 at that game. And people were doing the wave. Looking at the next one here, what about the guy in the huge, just over the top 8-wheel pickup truck, pays for extra axles when he goes through the tolls? That guy who blocks in all the other cars when we all have paid $50 or $30 for parking at a venue, and you are now blocked in by that huge pickup truck, and you know it too. And his keys, and he's nowhere to be found. How about that guy?
That's not. I don't like that at all.
Jeff goes, I get premier parking. Move on to the next one. No.
Someone that really takes up the space of two spots should pay double for their parking spot. It's just unless you're bringing a big load of ice to the game, there's no reason to bring
a load of something.
A giant truck. Just
got a lot of load to you, too.
Bring your electric car and park in a spot that we can get around you.
Everybody that's been to more than 5 football games and tailgated as a true fan, because we're not just fans. We've lived this for about 20 years of my life, even before I got into broadcasting. I tailgated all the games. We went to everywhere. World's largest. Been out to an Auburn, Alabama game. Been to the Georgia Dome multiple times. We live the experience. College football is not just going to the game. It's living the experience. Everybody, if you parked in one of those lots, whether it's a church. Last time I was in Doak over there, it was across the street at the church, and was blocked in by about 9 people. And you're like, come on, man. So we end up walking across the street, getting something to eat. There was a barbecue place, but you're just like, everybody has been blocked
keep
in.
that Swiss Army knife in the center console. You take that corkscrew out, and just they're gonna be there a while.
In fact, when Chad got back to the car, he went, "Oh no,
oh no!" Yeah, right there. How about the basketball clapper guy? This isn't at a game, but the guy at a pickup basketball game that's always clapping for the ball, but never wants to play defense.
Yeah,
never wants to be part of anything. Just ball. I'm like, why don't you take a charge or do something for us here? And by the way, if you're taking a charge in a pickup basketball game, good for you, sir, to have some. That's a great citizen right there. Like, if you own a company and that guy doesn't have a job, like, you might want to hire that guy, because you don't get anything for taking a charge at a pickup basketball game, because nobody on your team's ever going to come in with like the blocking or charge. And even on a block, you ball up top usually. You know what I'm saying? So you've just taken one for the team for no valid reason.
You really need to pick your fights, and that's not one you want to pick there. I mean, you don't want to take a charge at a pickup basketball game because nobody's going to see it.
No,
nobody's going to care.
Probably injure your legs on a blacktop and cut them open too.
Right, exactly. You might end up with a toe injury or something.
How about another one to add onto that note of players at the Y? The guy that every time, he's a horrible shooter, but every time he throws up a shot, that's foul, you got me.
Yeah, they got him on the R.
Yeah.
We used to call that guy O Park, Orlando Park. There was a guy that did that. His whole game was to throw it up in the air close to the basket, hope it goes in.
You got me.
Ball up top.
Y'all probably saw that little 5-minute expose on Nick Saban and Will Muschamp and all those guys that used to play pickup basketball at Alabama. They said that Saban would, call foul all the time, and he would never want to lose. He'd never want to lose a game, and so he would do whatever it took to cheat his way to the top.
That's right. Like wear bigger shoes. And you're his assistant. Are you gonna actually go after I'm sorry, if I've got a winning shot, I'm gonna pull that shot a little bit. It's like it's Nick Saban.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and he was really good playing on the shoulders of other tall people. I mean, I'm just saying. Okay. On that note, right here, the aisle crawler really ticks me off too. Like, it's okay to aisle crawl once in a while, but all the time. And this isn't as bad here, but like at the movies, most of our movie theaters, unless you pick up Friday night, a big night, most people respect people. But you'll go to one of those movie theaters where you're one of like 9 people in there, and the guy sits near you and then aisle crawls twice, and you're like, you kidding me, man? Like, there's 8,000 empty seats right here.
that way.
It's like, you could have walked down, but the aisle crawler is like, if I do not mind being an aisle crawler, if you really have, like, we all have a legit reason. You have a couple too many peanuts, Cracker Jacks, and ice cold brews. You got to get to the restroom. But to, like, aisle crawl and then be like, ow, Deborah forgot the ketchup for the fries, and then get back, and I'm like, oh, who wants a snow cone? Let me get the snow cone guy. And I'm like, just sit down, man. Like, I'm trying to watch this game.
Or the ones that order the hot dog from the guy that walks up and down the stairs, and they're like, I'll come to you. And it's like, sit there. I'll get it. Give it to you.
To be kind.
Yeah, I mean, the movie theater's not that bad usually.
No, that's not.
Because
Yeah,
there's some space in front of you. But the football stadium is awful if you have an aisle crawler in there.
And they're usually big people.
Yeah.
That, like, really big people that they try to do the whole, like, move it, but they're knocking you over and everything else with it.
It's the fat guy with the tiny bladder.
Yeah.
That usually has to walk by him 18 times.
Well, you know, like, companies people with security systems will check people that are breaking into clubs and doing things like that, or doing wrong things, and they'll get you on camera. There should be cameras that if you are aisle crawling on, like, a 4th and 1 play or big plays, you lost your right to ever go to a stadium. Because, like, those, unless you really can show proof that you had to go, something like there is no other choice here. I was trying to use the cup, but that wasn't mine. But if it was a point, because I'm telling you, like, when you're crawling on big third down or 4th down play, you clearly are there for the wrong reason. Because they're expensive seats, and you're ruining the biggest play of the game for me. And it's happened before.
Another reason to stay at home.
Yes.
Yeah, because, if you're in the middle of, or if the aisle crawler's in the middle, he doesn't know which way to go.
And we're going to leave it at this. The vegan who thinks he's better than you for eating bacon. We don't like him, right? Collectively? Nope. All right, Team Bacon. Yeah. All right. Delicious. For that note, guys, we appreciate. Like, what did that have to do with sports? Just want to get that off my chest, sir. Named Jesse that day. Don't ever bother me again with that. I'm going to eat bacon every day. All right, guys, enjoyed it. Let's do it again here soon. Blue Wahoos baseball has already begun. We're going to send out to Chris Garagiola as they get set to go here for all of us on the Sports Drive. For Jeffrey D, for Jordan Glass, you can hear him on Cat Country 98.7. Always doing a great job. I'm Chad Brillante. Have a great rest of your night and eat bacon.
I'm Little Teapot, short